Assalamu alaikum, Icon family and public. Before we start today, I'd like to show my respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, both elders past and present, on which this meeting takes place. I'd like to welcome our former captains in Bakr Hawari from 2019. He's jet setting all over Melbourne's university scene, now attending um, Deakin, formerly at La Trobe for one semester, and studying politics and trade. Am I correct?
International studies.
International studies at Deakin. And we have Fahad Al Bali, who is our outgoing captain for 2020, and inshallah, a lawyer to be, if not a business person to contend with. My name is Mr. Haroon, and today's topic that we're going to be talking about will be obstacles at school and having the right mindset. And I couldn't think of two better people to have the conversation with. So, first things first, what sort of obstacles would one face at school, in your humble opinion? I'll go with Bakr first.
Assalamu alaikum. Firstly, I would like to thank ICOM and Mr. Haroon for this meeting. I laid down, I think I always like to put things, what obstacles people might have. And even when leaving schools, I wrote like a couple of points and I distributed them. I don't know if you remember, like there was 5 points. I printed them on the paper. It was called Bakr's Guide for the High School Ride. I always like fancy names. But for obstacles, I think the top 3 obstacles are always, the number one is distraction. Even though, and when we say obstacles, sometimes we don't acknowledge those as obstacles to our learning because we like those obstacles sometimes. But like distraction from friends, that's the most obvious one. I don't even have to explain that. Another one is the workload. And I think that's something everyone acknowledges. As small as the workload is, someone in year 12 looks at someone in year 7 and tells them, when someone in year 7 says, I have a lot of homework to do, they go, you're doing nothing. But in fact, for that year 7 student, it might be, an exceptional workload for that year 7 student. So the workload is always something, especially for people, and most people don't have time management. Most people don't know how to focus properly. Most people have very short attention span, especially with all the social media, lots of research around that. So workload is a problem, especially in these days. And I think one of the most important ones, which I like to focus on the most, the other ones, I probably even had problems with them, the workload and the distractions. But one that I always like to preach about and talk to other students about is relationships. Okay, relationships with their teachers, relationships with other students, relationships with the principal, relationship with their peers, whether they're the male or female or whatever it is. The relationship, what do I mean by these relationships as an obstacle? Either people disrespecting others indirectly or indirectly, or people being bullied or disrespected. That's one of the major obstacles that I feel. This point, I want to touch on it just for another couple of seconds, and that is, students that, for example, let me give an example to make it clear. One student comes, he's not the best at playing soccer. He comes to this group and he plays. Now, he has already low self-esteem because he knows maybe he's not the best soccer player. When all the other boys that are already playing put him down and say, oh my God, you just missed it. You don't know how to play. Move on. Maybe they think that's okay because, they're used to yelling at each other, but that student might really, keep it in his heart and get heartbroken. So that's what I'm talking about. For him, that's an obstacle, and that's an obstacle for them too because they're disrespecting a fellow peer. So those are the top 3 obstacles I think students face at school. And there may be many others, not there is many others, but that's what I think.
I like the obstacles you touched on, especially the last one, and that's something I want to explore a bit further. But I want Fahad to give us the ones that he might see or might not see in terms of obstacles.
Thank you, Bakr. I think an obstacle that Bakr went off was time management. It's a big thing, especially in year 12. You get told before the year starts, get your phone a distraction. This is a distraction. You tell yourself, I will solve that distraction. I will stop going on my phone. But I feel like the year's too quick and too short for you to start on something at the start of the year without like touching base before the year starts. Like I know for a fact, I told myself, oh, as soon as term two come, that's it. The phone usage is getting shortened. This is getting like I'm gonna manage my time more effectively. But I feel like because I didn't take that into consideration earlier, it was too late for me to manage. But alhamdulillah, like I've really knuckled down coming up to the end of the year.
Okay.
Also, another obstacle I think is fitting in. I feel like some people like turn their eyes towards something that's not really as important and not important at all, to be honest, is in fitting in. They're always chasing the 8 ball. And I feel like if you're always trying to fit in, you'll never get to where you want to get to. I feel like you're always just behind the ball rolling, and you'll never like be satisfied at the position you are. But you always see, for example, oh, this group of people, I want to be part of them. You get part of them and you realize, oh, wait, this is not who I really am and doesn't reflect who you truly are.
Okay, so I got a question for you both because you both touched upon like a very big top, like there's a subtopic within a topic within a topic that you got there. So there's both the relationships that we have and the fitting in aspect, right? So I'll get you quickly, just like maybe 30 seconds each, or have a really quick think about what system you reckon would be good to employ from a student's perspective, and like maybe how the school or a school might be able to help employ that strategy of improving, say, relationships or getting that self-esteem of the kid to be like, you know what, I can be me and you go do you and we're chill.
Yeah.
So like who wants to answer that first? I think Becca has sorted it out a bit more, so I'll give you a bit more time. And I do like the fitting in aspect. That's really like it's appropriate. And I think at a university level, Becca has had to figure out that I got to be me, and if you don't like me, but at school it's a bit more intense. So we'll go with you, sir. Oh, Becca.
Okay. Yeah, the fitting in is actually very important. It's part of relationships, as you said. Is you can't really put like a behavior system for that. You can't give demerit points for that. You can't give detention for it if someone tries to fit in and they don't allow them to fit in. It's not something that's outer. It's something that's inner. And always the things that are inside someone, in their heart, in their brain, are harder to resolve. So I think the best way is awareness. You need to keep talking to people, but talking is not enough. Put people in those situations. Tell someone that, would you like it if someone broke your heart like that? What's better, breaking their heart or making their day? Maybe welcome them. Say, you know what, come play soccer. Doesn't matter if you missed that goal. Or doesn't matter if, someone, just as simple, it's things like that. Like I walked in with shoes in primary school. Like even it goes to all through. And they weren't the best shoes. Like they were a bit, like, I don't know, old or something. And then a couple of my own friends, my closest two friends, they started making fun of me. Now, I didn't inflict the outside. I didn't say anything on the outside, but on the inside, it actually hurt me. I was like, why do they? And it took me a while to get used to, I don't care about what they're saying, but it's from the inside. So I think the best way is raising awareness and people to understand. And I think religion, and I'll finish off with this, always plays an important part. Like whenever, for example, I think, I don't know if we can, I said it's not part of the behavior system, but when someone, for example, a teacher or another student sees another student putting another person down, first of all, the person that put them down or, did not allow them to be whatever it is, needs to be talked to in a nice way, not a behavior, not a detention. They're going to start hating the other student that they're put down. Maybe tell them, say istighfar, say, be nice to that person. How about the Prophet ﷺ? And that person needs to also be taught self-esteem and to be strong.
Yeah. All right, Fahad, how would you approach it? I like the approach, by the way, Becca.
Honestly, I think when you build a foundation of fitting in first before relationships, I feel like if you change the way you look at fitting in as trying to be someone you're not and turning it toward being who you really are, then relationships just come along with that. For example, if you try to fit in too much and you're not yourself, you're not who you really are, you start to actually distance people from yourself.
Yeah.
And you like turn towards yourself and focus on yourself. For example, schooling, you see once teachers start seeing you change, they start hopping along you're trained. They actually want to push you and make you improve. And I feel like in year 12, friends, they change from I like you because you're good at soccer, or I like you because you're this, until or I like you because you focus at school and you can help me and motivate me and we can help each other get throughout the year. So I feel like if you focus on yourself, then relationships start to bind towards it without you even realizing.
Okay, so like because I've taught you both, right? Now I've taught your groups both. So one of the greatest strengths that this current cohort of year 12s has is that every single one of you is an individual that's not trying to fit in, or you like as a group, you've just decided we don't care about fitting in. We're just going to be us. So therefore, I see that you guys mesh a lot better than all the other cohorts that have gone forward. Not to say that Bakar's cohort wasn't like that. It's just that your group has done it so well because even though your personalities, like compared to the other cohorts, like the 2019 and 2020, 2018 cohorts were a bit, though you were a bit more homogenous, you were a bit more on the same level as each other, whereas this current one is a bit everywhere. Everyone still gets along so well. And I think it's because you've got that shared one. So the next question I got to ask is, what do you consider the right mindset? And we got to sort of, so we'll go with Bakar on this one, Bakar first and then Fahad. So what's the right mindset you got to have, like in life or school or whatever?
I think the aim is important. Yeah, and you're not always going to say, for example, like a year one student is not going to say, I'm going to be an engineer and then just always be there. Just like aim high, aim to be a successful Muslim wherever you are. And I always tell this to people, sometimes not everyone's going to go to university. Many people are successful in trade. Okay, but if you're an electrician, for example, that doesn't mean like you're just a tradie and you're just you're worthless or something. No, of course, number one, it's a very important job. Number two, even it's paid job. Sometimes they get paid more than university professors.
Yep.
And number three, which is the most important, is be a successful electrician and try do something different. Leave something behind. And I always like this quote by this guy called Muhammad Sadiq al-Rifai. I think he's Egyptian. So maybe he's got the same thing. He said, if you do not add anything extra to the world, then you're an extra to the world. And he add something extra. You're an electrician. Do something different. What can I develop into this thing? That's very important, being successful and be happy. For example, this is exactly at school. Be happy as you have no choice. And whether you like it or not, you're going to go to school. Until you 10, then you can make the choice. So if you go to school every morning with the mindset, oh my God, I hate this teacher, I hate this person, and it's not true, then you're just going to keep facing problems. But if you go, and of course there's going to be problems and you have to deal with them, you'll be sad and you'll be happy at times. If you go and say, I have to do this, let me try to do it the best I can. And then maybe after year 10, I can go into a trade, or I can do more into this, or I can specialize because I can pick my subjects and teachers, then do that. But just have the right mindset that I have to do this anyway. Let me do it happily.
Brilliant. Fahad?
I think having the right mindset is the main thing that directs you forward to where you want to go in life. I feel like.
So what is considered to be the right mindset? Because we know there's right and wrong with everyone, right? So what is the right mindset?
I would classify having the right mindset as being happy and being grateful for where you are at the moment, but also having in the back of your mind that you want better for yourself, so you're going to keep striving, and always having that constant thought of, I want better for myself, I really want to go further in life, is what I classify as the right mindset, because you're heading towards the right direction.
Yep. Okay. Now, the last point that we're going to touch on, and I know you're both brilliant at this, is how do we marry the two? So obstacles, right mindset, how do we marry those two under the Islam, like in an Islamic way? Because sometimes having the right mindset and overcoming obstacles, they can take you down a very different course in life. And now we're Muslims, right? So having in mind that being a Muslim means you have to follow a set of ethics that was given to us by the Prophet ﷺ. You got to follow the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. You've got to follow the way of the Prophet and the way of the Khalifas, because they are the rightly guided ones. And if we follow them, we're going to go down the right path. So how do we marry the two concepts going forward, say for our ICOM community and the wider Islamic community?
I think for me, I'm gonna try to keep this very short and not connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, connection with our faith is very important. And
Yeah.
even all faiths, psychologically, it's been proved that people with faith can cope more with hard times. I'm not saying that people with faith will never face any hardships. No, but research has shown that. So connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm not going to dig too much into this point, is very important. Another point is, I'm going to repeat what I've said before, but in a different way. People need to have self-esteem. Everyone needs to have self-esteem, that they are strong, that they are themselves, that I'm going to do what I want to do. That and I always like to say this, one time I had a trouble, of always caring about what others think of me and my appearance. I said this at ICOM before in one of, I think, my last khutbah at ICOM. I tried, not brushing my hair at all. I just went to school for 1 month, 1.5 months without, doing my hair in the morning and taking 5-10 minutes to do it every morning. And then, you know what? No one looks, no one cares. Like, that's it. It helped me to develop this in my life. Of course, stay tidy and neat, but not to an extent where, oh my God, like, you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
On the other hand, you also need to be nice. So not have self-esteem to a level where you just, you're ruling the earth and you're walking the school, stamping your feet. Also be nice to others, that if they have lower self-esteem than yours, they don't feel that effect.
All right. Fahad?
I think the two questions that we spoke about before about you can be amazing at overcoming obstacles. You can be amazing at having the right mindset and going in the right direction. But I think if you forget like your roots and where you're actually from, you get pushed in a path where it might be towards where you want to go, but not on the right path. And you might, like for example, when you go to uni, when you go to uni, you have a direction of finishing this course, but you might get pulled into the wrong group of friends. You forget your prayer. You start breaking your fast. You start going out. You start like whatever they do. You start doing what they do, but you see it as a way of fitting in and being part of them. But I think if you have in the back of your mind, I'm Muslim, I pray 5 times a day, I'm not going to break my fast, you can get further with less obstacles dragging you away from your path. So I think that if you have a strong Islamic belief, then you can get much further than being clueless about not clueless about, where you're from, but clueless about how you behave and how you function.
All right. Look, I'm gonna sort of end the conversation here. You've both been brilliant. Like, the words that have come out of your mouth, I don't think I'd be able to put together quite well. So thank you very much for your time. Bakr, good luck with the university degrees and moving to Damascus and changing everything over there. Fahad, I know that whatever you're making, we made a deal earlier this year that if you make $1 million, I get half. So I'm happy with that.
I rule a country, then you get half of it.
Done. Look, I get half as a teacher, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be here as your teacher. So if you ever want any contact, make contact and I'll help you as best as I can. And I thank you very much for your time. And assalamu alaikum.